So what do you think is preventing them from going to the floor today to be passed?
Well, look, simply, we need to be able to work better, both in Congress, but also with the guidance of the administration that has been really lacking in consultation with us. I mean, I'm a member of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and we've put forth a series of proposals as well that have not been heard by the administration. So we need to make sure that the White House is on board with these common sense solutions. And we also need to make sure that these anti-immigrant bills that have been proposed in the House, like HR 2, that won't have a chance of passing aren't the only pieces of legislation that are going to be considered in this Congress, even though Republicans are at the helm today. And so that's why I introduced a package of separate bills to make sure that we address issues individually. So when we talk about fentanyl, when we talk about human trafficking, guess what? I've got a bill for that and it would pass.
I'm also curious where else you feel like you diverge from the Biden administration's handling of the border. And you did also talk about asylum a little bit. So I'm curious, do you think that the asylum system is being exploited? And do you think the US should let in anyone with an asylum claim?
Well, look, the asylum system that we have in the United States reflects our values of who we are as Americans. We have traditionally been somebody that takes in those folks who are politically persecuted or in danger otherwise in countries like Cuba. If you just go look back to the dry foot, wet foot policy. And so our asylum system, before we reform it, it has to be something that Congress decides on and that we actually look at the realities of how it's being used. Now, I don't think that can be done with the stroke of a pen from the administration. So I think it is up to Congress to make sure that if we're going to change asylum law, that we have an opportunity, a meaningful opportunity, not just to Republican Senate negotiators that are essentially agreeing with the administration to bring these changes to the House and Senate floors. There needs to be a more robust dialogue about what the future of our asylum system looks like that really honors our values of who we are as Americans.
Are you concerned at all that the Biden administration's handling of the border will affect the 2024 election, potentially costing Democrats from taking back the House and potentially losing him the White House?
Well, I'm focused on what my constituents are telling me in the district and the issues that they have brought up to me, whether it's the shortage of farm workers, whether it's traffickers on the border, whether it's abuses at detention centers. Those are the things that I've focused on. And that's what I'm going to continue to focus on because ultimately, as representatives, it's up to us to make sure the people in our communities are heard. And that's really going to be my focus this year.
And going back to bipartisan collaboration, I'm curious how working with Republicans on the border has been different at all under Speaker Johnson compared to Speaker McCarthy. Has it been?
Well, look, I started the Southwest Border Caucus, the Southwest Bipartisan Border Caucus with Juan Ciscomani, my Republican colleague in Arizona, in constant contact with folks like Tony Gonzalez in Texas. Those border legislators that understand their communities are folks that I trust in Congress to be able to come up with decisions collectively about what we believe is best for our communities. And so when it comes to things like international trade and the economy, there's a lot of common ground that we share together, as well as more resources for technology at our ports of entry that help make our border more secure. And so that hasn't changed under this speakership because those folks who truly understand their communities and know the needs of our border are going to, I believe, continue to work together in good faith with folks like me and folks like Representative Cuellar.
My last question for you. What do you make of the impeachment proceedings against Secretary Mayorkas right now?
Well, look, what we need to do in Congress is make sure that we continue to move the ball forward on conversations about solving this humanitarian crisis that we have. This proposal from Republicans is unserious, and it's honestly taken away attention from the real work that many of us are doing and have done to put forth these proposals in Congress. And so I don't know how many impeachment inquiries the Republicans have right now before Congress or before the House, but I think the American people are tired of it. I think they're tired of the gridlock. I think they want to see real action. But this is just going to generate headlines that's going to take away from the real solutions that we could be working on and that our office is working on.
Well, thank you so much for joining me again, Rep. Vasquez, and I look forward to watching your legislation.